today I'm going to show you how to do exactly what you see on the screen. Shout out to Dope Motions for giving me the video idea. So let's get right into it. We're going to create our first side of our cube, and let's make this a 1080 by 1080. Okay, so you want to go ahead and get your text tool and type out whatever you want. You could put a logo or you could put whatever you like on there, but I'm going to put some text. So let's go ahead, and the next few minutes is just going to be me typing my text in, styling the side of the cube, so you can follow along or you can skip ahead. I will have timestamps on the screen. And I have this title action safe guide, so I can just put the titles in nice areas that look normal. Like I said, this is basically going to be 4 sides of a cube. You style it however you like to. You don't have to do exactly what I do, but for tutorial's sake, you can just follow along with what I do. Duplicate this composition. So in a second you'll see me go up here and I'm going to duplicate this 4 times, but for the first one I'm just going to duplicate it and I'll change the letters a little bit, and then the next 2 squares are just going to be one word. So again, you're going to style it how you want, but this is how I'm doing it. Fast, you can slow it down or you can speed it up if you're going too slow. I know it's a long video, so. And with each one of these compositions, I'm going to add a background. So you see I just added a white solid there. I'm going to add a background to each one, a solid to each one. So for now I just did that one, but later on you're going to see that you need to add one to each. Alright, now that we have all 4 of them, we're going to make a new composition and we're going to name it animation. We're going to change it to 1920 by 1080 and name it animation. This is where we're going to do most of our work at. So now we're going to go to project and we're going to drag in our first side of our square or cube. And we're going to add a null object as well as a camera. So you can just copy my camera settings here. I'll leave it on for a little bit, or you can pause it. All right, and let's make our null object 3D as well as our composition. And we're going to parent the composition to the null object, bring in our second side and make it 3D. But we're going to check in our custom view. And as you can see now, when I make it transparent, there's no background, so we have to go back and add a background to each one. And this also helps you just change the size to each each side of the cube easier. So what I did, I just copied the background from composition 4 and put it into composition 1, 2, and 3. And you can change it as much as you like. I'm gonna see here, I'm gonna change this. So I have to add a fill effect. And that's where you can just change the color. Make sure you're in your custom view when you're searching around with the camera. I'm gonna press Shift 1 to activate this little tool so I can pan around, or you can click it, but Shift 1 is how you do it. So our next step is let's go ahead and move the anchor point of our second side. Let's move that all the way to the right. It doesn't have to be perfect, but to the edge of this square. Let's move our anchor point there so we can rotate the anchor point, or we can rotate the side on the anchor point so it'll be even. Let me show you what I mean. Press R for rotation. I press P at first, but R. And rotate it 90 degrees. And once you've rotated it, then you can move. You want to click on the composition and you want to Control Alt Home. That moves the anchor point to the middle of your selected layer. And the rest of this, I'm just going to be rinsing and repeating. I'm not going to be messing with the anchor point too much. All I'm going to be doing is just moving these sides around. Of course, you can skip past it. I will have a timestamp, and you can just skip past everything I'm doing. Or you can just copy the same exact numbers I have, so you can have your square perfect first try. That's probably what the next 5-6 minutes would be, just forming the cube. So when you're at this part of lining them up, I wouldn't worry too much about it, because later on we're going to go through and we're going to fix that. But you want to get it as lined up as possible. I know there will be a little bit of gaps, but we're going to have a way to fix that easily. So just line it up as best as you can, and then I'm going to show you exactly how you can get it to look like it's just perfect. So just line it up as best as you possibly can for now. we're gonna go ahead and change this text up a little bit. But once we get this finished, the cube finished, our next step is to add keyframes so we can have our motion of the cube. First, we're gonna move our anchor point for our null. So let's move this to the middle, the very middle. Okay. So when we do have our movement, it moves like it's moving from the middle on an axis. Doesn't have to be perfect, just make sure it's in the middle. And our next step, we need to parent each one of these sides to the null object. So when you finish with this, do that. And remember to always save. Go into your default camera view and click scale and scale it down to 55. So it's all uniform. So you want to click R for rotation, select keyframes for X, Y, and Z, move to 1 second, and we're going to do 33, 45, and 2. Then we're going to move to 2 seconds. See the little movement? So we're going to move to 2 seconds. And we're going to put 0, 90. Try to move it. 90 and 0. And then we'll go to 3 seconds. We'll put negative 33, 135, and 2. Negative 33 and 2. And we'll move to 4 seconds, and we'll make everything 0 except the Y. The Y rotation will be 180. And select every keyframe and easy ease it. So F9. Select them all, F9. And we're going to go into our graph editor. Make sure you have speed graph on it. And you want to just get a nice peak, so about 80% influence on each one. So as you can see, our text is like not reading the correct way, so all we need to do is just rotate it so it can read correctly. And that's what I was saying earlier, so now you can fix it. So now we're going to do a 1920 by 1080 composition. It's going to be our main composition. And this is where we'll do our finishing touches. So drag in your animation composition. And we're going to add a background now. So now that we have a background, you can easier see the little imperfections, and so we're gonna fix those now. So let's add a background here, which is what we probably should have did in the first place, but so in this section, we're going to need to adjust the layer to where it only shows up when we need it to show up, because otherwise we'll see it, the little imperfections. So let's go ahead. And I'm sure if you had it different colors, you would be able to see a lot more imperfections, but they're the same color, so you don't really see it. Just keep in mind that you're probably gonna have to do this with every layer. So when it does show up, so I'm gonna speed this part up, guys. I think you all kind of get the idea of what I'm gonna do here, so I'm just gonna speed this up. And I press N, so that basically just trims the workspace to wherever the playhead is. That's what I just did. So alright, so our next effect, we're going to do time or a glow. I'm sorry, we're gonna do a glow. And let's change all of this. Just follow me on the screen. And you can do your glow how you want. You can come in here and mess around with it, but this is what I found that I like. Alright, so with this time displacement, now we're gonna need to add a map. So just add a solid and pre-compose it, and we're gonna name it map. It'll make sense in a second. So here we're going to add a gradient ramp or wipe, whichever it's called. Swap the colors and go back, and that's what we're going to use for our map. I didn't notice that the layer was on top, so you want to hide the visibility because it'll still work. But basically what this is going to do is give us that little lag between the cube moving, so you'll see in a second. And again, if your computer is running slow, you can do this purge memory and disk cache. Mine was full. And also you can change the timeline resolution from 500 to 100 just until you're done. But I think I'm gonna try to render this first. Let's see. We got that nice little delay effect. So now we're gonna add a turbulent displace. And this is about the end of the video, guys. There's not much left, just hold on. So we're gonna do a keyframe for this amount, size, and evolution. I'm gonna start at 0. And then we're gonna add some amount every time the cube moves. You can do it however you would like it to look. So when it's straight on, we're gonna do 0, and then when it moves, we'll add some. Alright, so press U so we can pull up all the keyframes, and we're only gonna easy ease the top ones. And you can go into the speed graph and change it, but you really don't have to. So I want it to look a little better, a little smoother. But I wouldn't recommend you do that. I'm working on a very high-speed computer. I recommend you just keep it to like 100 for the ease of, trying to edit. But that is basically it, guys. That's it for the tutorial. The rest is just a little bit of extra, footage. Thank you for watching. Peace.